In addition, I would like to let residents know I took over from Councilman Cozio, chairman of the Reconsolidation Committee. We have had some meetings with Public Works, the fire department, public property, and the police department. Speaking of such, one of the issues that came out with Public Works is something I think that we need to address as a city due to the number of complaints that we had with snow plowing. So back on on February 4th, we did meet with individuals from Public Property and Public Works to go over some of the issues before the storm. And I guess we have a representative here from Public Works, so I want to speak about some of the issues we are having in Public Works and how it has affected the snow plowing, so residents get a better understanding as far as what the city is going through, and that this is an issue that we will be correcting. I know there's been some information that's been put out there and basically blaming Public Works, and I want to say that's not the case. Public Works has been working very hard. I'm proud of Public Works for what they've done. Unfortunately, over the last couple of years, their staff has been reduced to levels which basically they used to be able to go out with 3 crews of snow plowing, and now they're reduced to 1. And at this point, it's, whether you put it on me or other council members here, it's our job to make sure that Public Works has the tools and resources to do their jobs. And I don't feel that Public Works should be blamed for the mishaps of this last snowstorm. So with that in mind, I asked one of our individuals, or even Al, if they want to both come up to explain some of the shortcomings that happen with Public Works and what we're going to do to fix this. No, come on.
Mr. Scaldino, will you use the microphone, please?
Yeah, and Louis, if you can, if you can start off and just turn around. If you could start off, and one interesting fact as far as the levels of snow that we've had compared to, I think you compared it in 1993, and the manpower you had, and compare that to now, and how that has affected the. Okay.
Push the button there, Mr. Scaldino.
And the last time we had a winter like this was probably 93, 94. I remember it well because we bought our house in Sunnyside at that time. We had 6 people in the office.
Your microphone went out.
You gotta take your finger off. Once it's red, it's on.
Red.
There it is.
We had 6 people in the office. We had a superintendent, assistant superintendent, 2 general supervisors. I believe we had 7 supervisors and 117 men. Now we have under 80 men, and that includes the girls, and no superintendent, no assistant superintendent, 2 general supervisors, and 4 regular supervisors. The people that we have now that are in the plows, and I could see it myself, they got better this last storm. They've never seen a snowstorm like this. The amount of snow that we keep getting. They don't know the routes like the other guys got. Many years ago, we did away with shotgun drivers. The minute they did away with the shotgun drivers, you lost your training, your method of training the younger guys. So this whole year has been a learning session. But I could tell from the last storm that I think they did a better job. And there was more cooperation from the taxpayers if they get their cars off the road. But I only have 1 shift of men. I have 30 CDL drivers. I need 34. So every storm, I'm 3 to 4 garbage trucks or large trucks short. So every ward gets shorted a truck, but they're dispensed evenly throughout the city. That's about it.
And Lou,
Thank you, Ms.
I'm
Scaldino.
not done with my report. Thank you. Lou, can you explain as far as with the CDL license how we have to then, well, what's the other alternative, how we're using pickup trucks and how does that have an effect?
Well, yeah, if we don't have the bigger trucks in the bigger snow, the pickup trucks are taking a beating like you can't imagine. There's some streets we can't even get our garbage trucks down because of the parking issue. So the minute we send a pickup, the pistons are popping all over. I must have went through 10, 15 pistons just last storm. And the reason is you need the big trucks. 9th and 10th Ward, we need big trucks because the streets are wide, it's a big route, and the little trucks are having to do the job. And we're laying a beating on them. I think I went through 4 transmissions. Right, Al? I think it was 4 transmissions. 2 of them are his trucks from public property. But they're just, we just don't have the resources we had at one time.
And the last thing, Lou, I'm sorry, is one of the other complaints residents had was it was a matter of ice. And if you could explain the levels of salt and how that affected the city.
Yeah, there's no salt available. So we would normally really salt heavily. I could not salt the side streets. And it's not only us, it's the county can't get it, the state took most of the salt. We have right now, if we got an ice storm in Linden, I could only do the main drags. I could only do and that's it. I don't think anybody, I think not Perth Amboy, Jersey City just got a delivery of 100 ton.
And thank you, Lou.
Any members of the audience have any questions for Mr. Scaldino?
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
And lastly, while Lou represents Public Works, Al McDonald represents public property. And briefly, if Al can talk about, I know one of the other complaints was the train station as well as Wood Avenue. Now, Al, he represents a lot of the public property guys who would shovel these, and Al can explain the levels that we're at with that as well.
Over the past several years, we've experienced downsizing.
Your microphone's off there.
We've experienced downsizing across the board. I think that's become pretty apparent in all aspects of city services. Along with the plowing, of course, the snow removal. We used to do snow removal on Wood Avenue, and I'm sure that everybody here can attest to the fact that we no longer do that. We do the best we can with the resources that we have. Our manpower is roughly worth about 35% down from where we were 10 years ago. When that happens, there are going to be deficiencies along the way. I think overall we do a pretty good job with the resources that we have. However, there are going to be substantial differences from where we were 10 years ago. As Mr. Scaldino said, with the plowing, less trucks on the road, less drivers. We also have less manpower to do the snow removal as far as sidewalks are concerned, and just in general, the overall appearance of the city. We are maintaining what we have to maintain, but we no longer are able to do the extras that have been done in the past, and I think that is where the deficiencies are at this point. But there's not a whole lot that we can do about that in this situation as far as the downsizing is concerned. When you're 35% down across the board in manpower, equipment, and budget, which is exactly where we are right now, this is where it, when we have a situation like this with the amount of snow that we had a rough winter, I think it becomes apparent at that point.
Mr. McDonald, just real quick, roughly how many guys do you have that, I guess, that take care of you have these snow levels, take care of the parks, Wood Avenue, the train station?
Well, in the public property division, as far as manpower is concerned, as far as what we would generally have for snow removal, we're down about 30%, from around 30 people to around 20 people. We do utilize people across the board from the different divisions. As far as Public Works, when we can free up some people from there. But overall, it's in general, we're down 30% across the board. So when I say we have about 20 people, that's a maximum that we have to do the removal as far as the sidewalks and everything else is concerned.
And one last question, as far as your equipment, what was some of the equipment I guess you went through, snow plowers and things like that?
Well, the equipment, we do have sufficient equipment to take care of what we need to take care of. The maintenance of the equipment is another story. When you have a winter like we've had, you experience breakdowns on a regular basis. And when you don't have the staff to, we used to be able to have a crew inside maintaining the equipment during the storm. We no longer have that advantage. So when the equipment breaks down, we have there's a time period where we're not doing what we should be doing. We have to adjust that on, the off hours when we're no longer removing the snow. So it's not so much that we don't have enough equipment, we don't have the maintenance staff to maintain it properly.
Thank you, Al.
Okay.
Mr. Brown, what do you attribute this problem to? Years of inaction from previous administrations?
I would say lack of planning. I think, and that's what I want to stress with the public is back in February 4th, and we had a previous meeting back in January, is coming up with a game plan with Public Works as well as the police departments where we want to get our levels back up to provide services. One thing that we keep hearing over and over again from residents, which is absolutely right, is that they're paying more in taxes and getting less services. And what we can attribute this to is mismanagement of budgets in the past where we downsized so quickly where during the meeting we learned, just like Mr. Scaldino pointed out, they don't even have enough staff where they can have a training program where people who were plowing were inexperienced as opposed to people in the past. So this is where some of the complaints came in, where streets weren't plowed or streets were missed. Lack of knowledge from the younger guys, and there's other issues as well. This is something that the Finance Committee as well as the Reconsolidation Committee is going to look at, where we're going to come up with some type of a 5-year plan where slowly we're going to build up or rebuild these two departments. Like I said, Public Works is one, as well as the police department, where we're short 15 police officers, which is having an effect and taxing our police department as well. So in the months to come, I want to let residents know you're going to be hearing more about these reports, but I thought it was important that tonight at least they heard about some of the issues we are having with the snow plowing. They have been heard, they will be addressed, but at the same time, that Public Works is working the hardest, and it falls back, in my opinion, back on the council, where we need to come up with a game plan to make sure that they have the tools and resources to do their job efficiently, and that these guys really do work, work their butts off. I mean, for the most part, people forget that about 90% of these guys live in Linden, so they want these streets plowed as well, and with that, that's the end of my report.
So, Mr. Brown, we agreed to conduct a special session of the council to address these problems?
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me. So back, I believe it will be March 11th. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me, where we'll be having a special budget meeting where the goal of this budget is to come up with priorities. I always believe that your budget should set the direction, whether it's a corporation or a town, of what you want to do. We only have a limited amount of funds, and we need to set the priorities. What is it that we're looking to do in Linden? I've said this last night, and I said at previous meetings that, if you want ratables to come in, residents to come in, if you want businesses to come in, there's 3 things you have to look at. You have to look at your Board of Ed, you have to look at crime/police, you have to look at your public services. Those are the big main 3. We have no jurisdiction over the school, but police and Public Works are the 2 things. And during this budget meeting, I want a game plan as far as what we're going to do to address these issues and bring Linden back to the way it should be. So that meeting will be March 11th. Other than that, end of report.
Thank you, Councilman.